Now we know that trauma and distress and grief is encoded in our body. Our bodies remember that. Every cell potentially can hold a memory of a major life experience. And so that's when I realized I need to give my body some attention. Now a friend had suggested that I might go to a 5 rhythms class. Now the 5 rhythms class is a 2-hour session where it's just expressive dancing, and the idea is that your body moves you rather than your head moves the body. So you respond from your feet up to the beat of the music and just flow with the music in whatever way feels intuitive and try and get that head out of it. And the 5 rhythms are flowing, staccato, chaos, lyrical, and stillness. And by the end of the 2 hours, you really do feel like you've just been washed through. But what I noticed was, as I responded to the music, it was as if there was this corkscrew of energy just flowing out of me. And I realized that this was all the trauma and the distress and the grief and whatever else was just unwinding out of me. And after several months of doing this, it really did feel like I was back in tune with my body, and my body was now free in a way that it hadn't been for many years. I also learnt around that time that one of the best brain health exercises is not only is it dancing, but also partner dancing. Now we know that a way of keeping the brain healthy and vital is to learn something new, like learning a new language. But the thing with dancing is that it incorporates so many different aspects, like movement, like the sound, like rhythm. Now partner dancing really adds on something else because you're having to synchronize with someone else, so there's communication going on. And you also have to remember patterns because you're not just doing expressive dance. Now a friend told me about some salsa teachers that live nearby, and I decided to go along. So I went along to these salsa classes, and in the first year I think I got the rhythm but nothing else. I couldn't remember anything else. My brain was still getting used to this idea of dancing in this synchronized way. The second year I remembered some patterns, and then by the third year I could actually go social dancing. I had the confidence to go social dancing at last. Now as a treat to myself, last year after completing the writing of my last book, I had booked to go on a dance tour of Cuba with my local dance teacher. So I went to Cuba, and on this tour we went to 3 major cities in Cuba, including Havana, Trinidad, and Santiago de Cuba. The third city was Santiago, where we had a week, and each morning we'd have 2 hours of classes. The first hour would be a Cuban dance style, and the second hour would be son, that's S-O-N. Son is an earlier or a precursor to salsa. It's a little bit more elegant. The music is a bit slower, and it's a different style to salsa. And I really wanted to learn son, and so I was very excited to spend a week learning son. But the other thing I'd had in my mind before going to Cuba was I just really love watching these video clips of a couple dancing with the colonial buildings in the background and in the square, or maybe with a harbour backdrop or the seawall in Havana. And I thought I'd just really like to recreate that myself. So at the Sandanga Dance School, each morning we'd have 2 hours of classes. The first hour would be a Cuban dance style, and the second hour we'd do son. And that was the duet that I really wanted to do. So I was able to dance with our main dance teacher, and we went to this beautiful location in Santiago. So each morning we'd walk to the dance school through the streets of Santiago, go upstairs. The dance floor was actually on the 3rd floor, and each morning we'd have a different warm-up. One of the teachers would lead the warm-up. I really wanted to get to this duet. So after the 2-hour class, I stayed back and did an individual class with the main teacher. And at the end of that week, towards the end of that week, and I was still trying to remember all the dance patterns. We located a lovely colonial courtyard with the harbour in the background, and sort of late one afternoon or early evening we shot this footage doing this traditional song. It was a bit like Dancing with the Stars but without a star, and there I was wearing my Cuban special shirt and my dance shoes, and I'd made it. I did it.